I'm going to be screen grabbing my desktop music computer, and I have a list there of things that we could quickly take a look. And if there's typos and if there's other funny stuff, feel free to laugh. But there we are. Boom. I do not know how the resolution is, but you guys on Twitch, can you see the writing here on my, so to say, things to do list software? If not, I'm equally fine just sort of reading it. Okay, Nico. Oh, and a quick roll call. Also, I see several familiar names, which is really cool. Solid Panda, Lady Door, Rob, Mundane Name, and but where you guys from? Yeah, Kenshin is in LA, Uruguay. All right, and Facebook as well. Where are you guys from? Tim, by the way, you happy you got some sort of crappy copy of my track and you're trying to give it to other people? Or my remix, actually. I mean, I don't care. I've been posting it here, making it 8 and 5 hour things on, Twitch and Facebook, but it is coming out. The time here, Junior, is a little past 9 p.m. Schwab, hey, my man. Okay, what are we saying on Facebook? Cool. Well, the kicks thing again. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Landskrona or something. Isan. Scandinavia. Okie dokie. So, well, okay. So what I've been doing over the years, I basically have been studying this stuff myself. I don't know if I've understood everything wrong and if I'm doing everything correctly or not. I don't care as long as it sounds good. But so I've written down these things like there's kicks, there's drums, clap, snare, hi-hats, percussion loops. There's tuning, kicks, sampling or snare, this and that. There's effect sounds, noise sweeps, swooshes, uplifters, downlifters, pitched, pitch bends, booms. There's ear candy, one shots, delay, plus reverb, filter sweeps, edits. There's mixing, EQ compression, mastering and mixing, EQ frequency guideline, compression, parallel bus compression, parallel multiband compression, gain structure, stereo and panning and width, mixing vocals, sidechain pump or ducking. I can actually curve at that. Ducking, sidechain gate, sidechain compressed send effects, and selective bandwidth ducking, kind of a similar-ish thing. Splitting a channel to several frequency bands for separate processing. Headphones for mixing and headphone mixing, mastering, stems, sound design, leads, bass, Melodyne. Oh well, Melodyne doesn't really go exactly there, but goes into vocal mixing stuff, but whatever. Or vocal processing. Remixing mashups, removing vocal, extracting a vocal, changing tempo, making an instrument. Logic specific stuff. My workflow, project, alternative naming, inspiration, ideas, methods, creativity, arrangement, help with structuring a track, full track building tutorial, live performances, live PA checklist, these topics, beginner production setup, mostly for EDM, advice for new producers, kind of the same thing, common mistakes of music production or mixing, writer's block solutions, genres, schmandres, loudness war, setting up Logic Live, Reason, for instance, gear versus skills, 432 Hertz or 440 Hertz, biggest F-ups and other situations, DJing first gig advice, DJing versus live shows versus production, beat matching, mixing and EQ, phrase mixing, harmonic mixing, knowing your records, DJ etiquette, and for all you aspiring DJs out there. And that's just kind of rant / note / something. And then track selection, credibility, coolness, what have you, all kinds of stuff about DJing. Rebel Llama, please welcome everybody, come in. So, but you know what? Yeah. Okay. Well, what we could do then is, if everybody or a lot of peeps want kick drums, for instance, then just let's start an empty or template Logic project. New camera angle, well, yes, indeed, in a way it is, but the camera is, I'm actually going to turn it a little bit here. It's kind of better. It's a new camera angle because that's on my laptop. It's my laptop FaceTime camera, and it has a little bit of a funky lens on it. My game loop. Good. Might not be the worst idea ever. All right. Cool. So create a new project from a template. I've got some templates that are, for instance, testing 2 + 2. For me, that means I've created a template that is very easily. It has 2 audio tracks and 2 instrument tracks. And if we're talking about kicks, then in that case, I'm going to go to my samples folder. I'm going to go to my drums and percussion, and then I'm going to go to bass drums, and basically just, I don't know, how about we see what I have here. I'm just gonna throw a bunch of kicks first here on my Logic project. Bass drum piece revisited. Okay. Bass drum hip hop. I'm not gonna do that right now. Let's take those. Okay, don't do that. So yeah, that sounds familiar. Fat kick. Okay. So recently I've done a lot of, I've used a lot of kick drums from a kick drum plugin called Kick, and now Kick 2. And it's so very nice, because you can do everything within one plugin. You can tune, you can add like length, make it shorter, all kinds of things in it. Add clicks, or actually 3 if you want to. And but we could just maybe go through a couple of kick sounds that I have just in my own library and see if they are any good anymore. Some of them are old, some of them are from my older tracks, and some of them I've just gathered from wherever. Let's see if these are any good like that. And there's also, okay, why not? Oh, thank you, Rob. You're golden. Boing. Okay. So again, I apologize for the Facebook viewers. You might not see any of this, but I sort of hope that you do. Let's turn that up just a little bit and turn that way. And I'm not the best talking about this, narrating maybe, but I'll try. This is an old kick drum duo that I got from my buddy Heikki L, and I think this is the era of my second album. Come on. If you listen to something like In the Darkness, I mean, actually not In the Darkness, but Next to You, the whole second album had very similar kicks to this. And this was the top kick. I don't know what kind of speaker systems or you have your playback system, but this is sort of quite thin. It doesn't have low end. Let's see if we can get those. I'm opening a couple of analyzer softwares. Where is my waves? No, I don't see there. Paz analyzer. First of all, rule of thumb is that kicks should pretty much always be dead center, because they are very strong and they have low end, and they need to be like the strongest thing on a dance record. So they should always be not necessarily mono when if you layer several kicks, but the low end part, the sub part, should always be like under whatever 300, 200 hertz at least, should have exactly centered mono sound. So there's one sound there, but this has a low end part to it, and together they have a much better sort of effect. And also the low end part makes this kick a lot longer too. I'm not saying this is the best kick in the world at all, but when you have a great sounding kick, but it doesn't have the oomph enough or whatever, then you can sort of think of different, maybe 1 or 2 other layers that you could add to it, and then it would work better. For this one, for instance, I think the higher one, it does have low end on its own, so maybe I'll cut some low end out of it, and then it's not as much cancelling. Now the beginning lacks a little bit of low end energy though. Maybe not the best two examples, but still. Many a time have I had a great kick crackle, snap or tick, but then the kick itself doesn't, somehow work. So then I've gone somewhere else and tried to either sample a better kick from somewhere, go through sample CDs, or I've even sampled my own track. And actually, that's a really good way to get going. Yet if you sample from somebody else's track, it's also somewhat illegal and immoral, but at the least you can do is, if you have a track that you really, really, really like and it works on the dance floor, you can take that as an example and try to go for that kind of a kick drum that track has. Just this kick for 2 hours. Yeah. Basically, hold on, who is asking that? John Tardis. I'm not a great keyboard player, so I'm okay with like a synthy sort of lighter keyboard. I like this one a lot. I don't remember whatever, is this like a Fatar keybed or whatever this is, but this is very quick, very springy, but not in a bad way, not in a bad plasticky way. But I've also like, we've got a like a small grand piano in the house. I like playing that. I also have a Roland digital piano, like with fully weight keys. And then I also have the Komplete Kontrol S88 controller keyboard that has sort of very close to actual piano touch keys. Those are weighted keys. So I like playing with them, but because I'm not like classically trained or whatever, I don't think I can, use all the benefit of having a fully weighted keys. But now that we've had a grand piano for a while, I've really enjoyed just noodling around with that. Okay, so I'm just trying to see if yes, this is a Nectar P6. Cool. So, for instance, in this case, if we wanted to, I could go through some other kicks right here. Maybe not. Oh damn, that's pretty loud. .808, nice. 909. What the hell is going on? This 909 is very close to like the original Sandstorm 909 kick. This is from JS16's real 909. This track has a 909 bass, but then the crack tick, whatever you want to call it, that's somewhere from somewhere else. Okay, so here, I don't remember how this was made, but initial bass drum that I found somewhere was this. But then when I put it in a track, it was sort of not coming out proper, so I added a tick to it. A little bit of tick and noise. So here's a kick sound that I made at some point. This was when I was doing this, it was on a transy track initially, but then I wanted to use this as a kick on another track, like over 10 BPM slower. So we're going 138 right now, and I wanted to use it as like 128 or 126. And with the bass line that I had in a track, it wasn't nearly as long as I wanted it to be. So what I did was I went in, let's go a little more accurate, like one more there. I took a full cycle of just one cycle, and I took one or two of those. And Logic, if you shuffle something. So I added 2 cycles in the length of the kick, and then I added a little bit of gain to those. And so now you have a kick drum that is 2 cycles longer, which in this case is not that much yet, but you could do longer if you wanted to. I am going to do a little bit of fade. Oh, I don't think that's gonna work. It's just short. Either way, if I now process these together, and if I go and check it out, you can't really see except or here, but the tail is now longer than it used to be. Nick Wax is here. Hi man, what's going on, buddy? So I think this was actually a kick for my track called Peace Revisited on the album, but then because it says kick uusi, which is new, Peace plus Romero 001. I used the kick plugin and exported out a kick from that, like a preset tweaked, that was from the Nicky Romero kick. Next to you, bass drum. One great way if you're working on a track and if you're checking out kicks for your track is to use the sampler for quickly auditioning stuff. For instance, well, in Logic it would be your EXS sampler, and you would go to your bass drums. You hopefully have done, like I have, for instance, the all famous Vengeance, several of the Vengeance sample kits, and these are the clubby ones. But what you could do easily is to just set a MIDI loop. You can have the whole track, the bass lines and everything. Other drums can be on, but then you can start thinking, what would be good kick drums for my track, for instance. So you go and you record your kick drums. I hope I got them to, yeah. And in Logic, for instance, it actually, yeah, now it quantized it. In Logic, so what I often do is if I get a huge sample kit, like tens of kick drums, I put them in a sampler, each on one key. And when you have that, and you have sort of, it actually pays off to level the drums, also the kick drums, so that they are similar sounding or level wise. So now you're in your software, you have your track running, you can just press play, and then you can go whatever is your, you can either choose the samples and just start moving the notes up and down in your piano roll, or whatever you call it in your software. And a lot of times this is just, I mean, it is only trial and error because you don't know the qualities of the next kick that is coming in. But I like to do this every once in a while, sort of leaving huge things to chance, basically. You know, I know that, say, these clubby kicks from Vengeance might be good, but you don't know which one fits the key, which one lengthwise is good. But then you just go and you might find something that you wouldn't have unless you just manually went through each and every kick. Another way is to just go and start from scratch with, or well, actually you don't have to start from scratch, but start, take for instance the kick 2 plug, which is amazing, by the way. Now I have the MIDI there already from, I just copied it from the other. And when you're using this non-pitched, it doesn't matter which MIDI note it is that you're using. But so this kick 2 plugin is rather amazing. It has a couple of parts where you can basically build your kick from scratch, and it has amazing set of presets with it as well. You see the waveform of your kick, and you have a pitch envelope, an amplitude envelope, and then your clicks, 3 different clicks if you want to have that many. Then there's EQs, there's distortion, there's a compressor, and then you can render these if you sort of don't want to use them, so to say, live from or in this plugin. When you get your kick perfected, you can just basically grab it from here as wave and drop it in your in your DAW track, audio track. And I mean, I know pretty much all of what these, oh, it has a limiter as well. All of these controls do, well, about all. But it's actually not in a way that easy to tweak a kick from scratch. So the presets that this comes with are really cool, but they're very typical. If you see the screen, the first couple of milliseconds or 10-20 milliseconds of a kick are very high pitched. There's this sort of a tick or snap or tick, click in the beginning, and then the sort of sub part of the body starts and fades down. And significant things are the length of the kick and how quickly it fades down, i.e. you can check it from the amp envelope. And changing things here changes the form of the wave, and that thus like how long your the kick body is, how long, and how long the decay and the sort of the meat of the drum is. Like, are we talking about a really short one that leaves a lot of room to have like big bass lines and stuff between, or would the kick be the driving thing? And if it is like this, then you need to have it tuned. And for instance, this is, well, it's landing in G. And so if I wanted to, you could just, this is really cool because you could just tune it here. Now it's an A kick. This thing comes with a lot of these clicks. You can just choose clicks based on sort of style. You can, but then you can also just add your own clicks. If you know a click that you love, but you want to generate the sine wave part of the kick yourself, you are free to do so. Or you can add two of them. Of course, you can tune the length of the click, where it starts, and the pitch of it, and then you can add two more. Then if you want to sort of glue the tick and your drum, the sine part, the bass part together, you can do so because there's a compressor, very basic but good compressor thing in the software or in the plugin itself. Let's see. Like I'm with the attack now being 30 milliseconds or so, maybe see 20. Ratio of say 4. A little bit of makeup gain. I am making sort of the initial tick a little louder here. Me taking this off, back on. The initial tick is kind of but of course when this meat comes in, you can is so long that it doesn't kind of do any good to compress it like that. So the attack time in a compressor is the time where like if you set it to 40 milliseconds, the first 40 milliseconds of the kick come through as is, and then after that, based on the ratio and the threshold, the kick is basically squeezed down a certain amount of dBs, with the ratio being here like 4, I guess it was, or whatever I put. The rest of it is, if the threshold is so that, say, is it 1 dB gain reduction, means that, damn it, how do I explain that? So hard to explain. I could draw it really quickly. Anyway, when you when the 40 milliseconds, for instance, now has gone, the level of the rest of the kick waveform goes down until it goes as low that the threshold is not, the waveform is not louder than the threshold. With the makeup gain, you can gain that back, and like the result of that is, for instance, you can adjust sort of the with different settings of the compressor. You can either make the kick really snappy in the front end, loud and sort of short and punchy, or you can do kind of the opposite. You can lengthen the tail part of the kick. I can't even begin to describe how many ways there are to use a compressor in any and every kind of production. But there's just about 1 million presets in this one. If you're into kicks, really quick way to get going is this, and you can also study really nicely how they are, you know, what makes a kick, how do you tweak it, and then you can, with this you can basically like a kick on its own, but then when you put it in a track, something like this as a software is very handy to tweak it exactly how you want it in your track. And that might, like, I'm a very visual person. I'm often looking at the waveform and thinking like, now it's good, and the length and how it fades down, for instance, when we talk about kicks. But when it's in the track, it might need tweaks left or right, up and down, inside and out, because everything affects everything when you have all the other stuff, especially bass around your kick drum playing. By the way, this has an EQ as well, and I actually like the EQ quite a lot. Nick, yeah, absolutely, of course. And let's make a mock-up bass sound. Let's take nope. Come on. Okay, what the hell is going on? This has been my go-to bass recently. I made it. is going on? Okay, so I took well, I call it fat square saw triangle bass. This is the sound. I didn't even put an EQ on it yet, but I put basic sidechain pump on it with this plugin called Volume Shaper 4. I selected one of the main or the preset curves, which is a nice curve for sidechain pump. I set it to whatever 85%, so it is not fully 100% zero sound in the beginning of the duck. If you hear it's pumping, but you can hear the bass all the time though, right? I also took the this has 2 frequency bands, so you don't have to have the whole thing ducking full on. So I'm choosing to do like 405 kilohertz frequency split. So anything above that plays straight through. So now when you listen to this, you actually hear the attack of the bass, that high end part of it. I'll show you how. If you low cut everything over 5K, yeah, you still hear that sort of attacky sound. I don't need the EQ here right now, but so with the kick, now my bass line is, yeah, I made it in G. And if you listen to this, I actually can do my sort of my own way of determining the kick frequency. It requires humming and thinking. But can you hear the note of the kick? Yeah, that's what it is. So I need to tune it back down. I mean, this is now sort of even too easy because I can see it here and whatnot, but it's still not always, if I have an G bass line, that the kick needs to be exactly G. So one thing I often do when I am producing, I'm looking at the waveform. Well, oh, by the way, obviously right now I'm not gain staging or doing anything smart like that. I'm looking at the kick and bass. So a waveform, or if you also see where the bass is and how it is in time. Now I think I could they sound fine because they are in the same note. But what happens when I start creating melodies with the bass line? Okay, Morwick, great question. Do I save my channel strips? Absolutely. I very often save them. By the way, is my mic on? No. I often save, or always almost save, my channel strips. So especially when I've made a track and I've sort of committed to the final mixes and everything, when the track is done, I often sort of go through it and see what new I came up with. Whether it's a synth patch or the whole channel strip with the EQ, with the compressor, with flanger, whatever it is, or even send effects. And what's cool now is that you can save all that stuff in Logic, and even like the patches now where you can do layered. You can play the MIDI keyboard on a track stack which would have, for instance, 2 Nexuses and 1 Silent and 1 Logic owned synth that are all playing the same thing, and you could have EQ'd them all to occupy their own frequency range and have a stereo width. The Logic synth is a little left, Nexus 1 is a little right, Nexus 2 is center, and Silent somewhere else, so you can create a really fat, big sound. And then when you're in a next track and you want to recall that sound, you just go there and it's all back there. Yep. Godzidox, I'm just gonna say this right quick. I had an okay number, it's numbers, not letters in Finland, in music, but I actually, on the 8th grade, I believe it is, on upper elementary school, you pick and choose either music or like drawing or arts, and I chose arts because I couldn't stand, well, it's not that, I couldn't stand my music teacher because we were doing choir singing and somebody else sang wrong, but she singled me out and made me sing in front of everybody, and I hated that. I knew I was singing correctly, but yeah, and that was basically the decision why I didn't take music in the upper elementary school. So there. Where am I? Well, wrong track. So now I can take a look at the kick and bass combo. You don't have to look at it as a waveform immediately, obviously. I can try adding length, shortening it. At 430 milliseconds, it's like a length of 1 beat, basically. this doesn't exactly sound like a full-on kick tutorial though, but okay, so I'm going to see if I can find a couple of hi-hats for this as well. Well, where's my 909? There. much. Pew. Drum loop, boom, audio. What have we? Backpack. Whoops. Okay, so these are not the ones I'm looking for. Show original. Is it that one that says clung? All right, I am going to double that track. I'm going to take that sound and see if I can use it. Oh, damn. If you're a Logic user, you should check out Apple's own thing called Pitch Shift. I think AU Pitch it is. I'm gonna go minus 200 cents. Let's see. Okay, bear with me. It's not maybe exactly there. Okay, so Nick, I very often don't do pre-claps on purpose, but well, actually, let's just say like if I record MIDI wise, or if I find samples for my claps and snares, for instance, it's always exactly on the dot, and that's just how I like it. But if I use drum loops where there's like this weird pre-clap that sounds like 8 hand claps in a row, and it starts X millisecond before the first or the bar or the whatever, one, then I'll keep it there. I don't mind it, and in some cases, especially like with house and certain kind of electro stuff, the groove and the vibe that it gives when it's a little early, or there's this like for it, that I like and that I can deal with. But pretty much I'll never ever time my stuff off like that. But then at the same time, sometimes I do, like after the fact, I might try different kicks or different ticks for a kick, and at the same time in relation to the clap attacks usually, because those are the loudest or most prominent ones. And it's true that shifting the attacks one direction, basically kick being the strong one or the biggest one, and then in relation to the kick, it can change the feel of the track, and it can also mixing wise help it. But it's hard for I don't know. I'm just a sucker for on beat ticks and attacks. And so I'm just reading through. Morwick says it would be beneficial if you could touch on the proper arrangements of effects. Compression, for instance. Do I set my compressor before my effect or after? Well, that's a good point, Morwick, but at the same time it's very, very dependent on where and how you want your compression to be. Is it a mixing thing? Is it a sound thing? Is it a like feel thing? Because compression affects so many things. I've always actually said, like, I'm prefacing everything, but I don't mean that I don't whatever, no shit like that, but it's very hard for me. All of a sudden I've realized now that I've done these sort of question and answers and some tutorial type of stuff, that there's some stuff that I just don't have actual rational reason to do, or like that I can base it on some sort of whatever theory or right way of doing things. But compression is one thing that, for instance, right now I'm not too worried about because I'm just throwing things in. But if I were to put a compressor on something here, for it would always I pretty much always EQ my thing first. Say this clap here. Why is it not playing? Okay, so this clap here, the guys who can see my screen, there's a bunch of no use low end in the clap. I would EQ the low end out. I would go a little too far, then come back. I might come back to this and EQ it a little later, a little higher even when it's in a mix. But right now, the little hump that you can hear there, if I don't EQ it under 160 or so at this point, I won't hear it in a mix, and it won't matter there because it's on a kick anyways. So then after that, while soloed, I'll just very quickly listen and or also do a little sweep. I'll see if there's any sort of bad ringing anywhere. That's not a ring, but something that I'm taking down a little bit of honk or whatever that. And when I've done that, I'm just gonna then I'll try it with and without the compressor, the EQ, but I EQ it first to the sound that I want it to be in the mix, sort of frequency wise, and then after that, if I want to, then I would compress this, because I want to EQ the unnecessary stuff out first so that I can then let the compressor do whatever I want it to do. So, because if I, for instance, left the low end, whatever, there's a little flicker in the low end there, I would then have that affect how the compressor is, like where the threshold is and how that should work. For I'm always pretty much going like, hey, well, how about snare compression type 2? This is not exactly a snare, it's a clap, but it doesn't matter. So, solo that. I'll check out what this setting was about. Ratio is probably fine. That's why it's loud, because the auto gain was on. Attack is, yeah. So what I would be looking into in this, for instance, if I wanted to do that, I maybe have a little bit of attack, 20-30 milliseconds here, then have whatever gain reduction or threshold, and then add a little bit of makeup gain, so whatever the compression is doing, reducing gain. So now it's letting through the initial attack, which basically now is 4 dBs louder than it used to, because there's a makeup gain of 4 dBs. And then it's letting the first 29 milliseconds through as is, and then it's compressing, and then whatever is now pushed down, it makes up back again. Hold on, well, yeah. So, like you hear it, I don't know if I said that right, but like you listen to it now, on, compressor on and off. There's more like attack and snap to it. And if you put it in the context, so now you can think which one you like better. Do you want it more in the forefront, or is this a clap that is better, sort of like more blending in? Are you going to use another clap that would add to it? Now I can turn this down a little bit. I like the attack snap in it. Okay, I'm actually going to try and see if this would make sense. I think it does. Add a little bit of hi-hats from that loop. Yeah, somebody saw a Vengeance Kick. Yeah, this one is the one up here. Man, my mouse is... And I'm kind of trying to do a just really like driving something, but maybe. I don't know. Let's do this. And this. And this. Well, those don't work together, but that's fine. In my opinion, you should always cut the low end out of everything. Whatever is your cut-off frequency, that I don't know, that depends on the sound and your mix, but there's no point in having, for instance, in this hi-hat, might be even higher, but like anything under 450 hertz, it really doesn't bring much to it, especially when it's in a mix. But it so now this is pumping nicely. Yeah, I don't even need the frequency split. I'm just not cutting it all the way, because then that, now it's nice and pumping a little bit. Oh wow. So you know what? I've got to go in a minute. I am so sorry. This is, and man, I need to figure this stuff out. But I'm gonna show you a trick that, I don't know if it's a trick, but I like it. It's if you have a, well, my mouse is acting up. What is going on? You have a track like, say, the root next to you, and you really like the kick sample in it. Do not steal other people's music, but if you have your own track you need to get a kick out of. So like, let's just listen to this for a while. Oh man, this is such a high kick. I don't know if this is a good example. Transy kicks. Okay, so So let's just see if I can do this. If not, working with this example from my own track, then at least you should get the idea. Let's see here. Okay, might not work, but might be good enough to. Okay, so you found a great kick in something that you're legally allowed to sample. I don't know what that would be, but anyway. And you really want to use it, but it has some shit on it. So what do? Oh, come on. You try and find a as clean as possible version of that sound. And maybe 2. Depends on if they have different qualities that you like. Let's see how close together I can put these in time. So this is basically now the same kick from 2 different spots of the track. And so one of them, actually should make this 138 so it's easier to edit. Okay. One of them is like this. It has both a ride cymbal and a little bit of synth in it, and the other one has that percussion thing. It's there as well. And there's a 909 hi-hat there, so that's probably a no-go. But so this one, I don't think that ride bothers me really that much at all. So I'm going to go and EQ, maybe 24 dB high cut, and I'm going to go, whoa, wrong sound, hold on a second. Boom. So what do I hear? Now I hear the bass part of it all. Go a little higher. Actually, what I can do first is, let's see. Hertz is a G. This is an C minor track, so I'm pretty sure this is a G note that is ringing there. How about take that ring out a little bit? Just for the purpose of doing this. .520 would be C, 523 is C. What else do we hear? Okay, and then go back. So what's that? 270. Let's take that out too. Okay, so now we've got just a little bit of like hum and whatever space in the kick, but let's go there. And what do I want to do next? I will select that, go bounce in place, bounce to a new track, and leave, whatever. So what do we have now? We have sample looking like this. Now we can listen to, actually let's check this first. So check out the waveform. We've got a clean waveform that is a little late. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that and put those zero crossings in about the same spot. We're quite close, like that. So then I'm going to take the attack of that, drop it here, do this, and then we'll listen to this. Okay, so I'm not sure if I can make it work really well, but let's try at least. You will get the idea. What am I doing? I don't know why I still hear. Okay, it's still kind of, now it has the attack from the what do you call that, the ride symbol. So we could try this one and go here. That's a little better. And it's better to put it at a zero crossing. So that does the least amount of tick or snap or something. So a while ago you had basically this, but now you have the kick drum from that track. So, yeah, I'm about an hour late. My wife is gonna kill me, but anyway. So now you can just, there's still a little bit of that hum, but I don't, if you wanted to use this kick somewhere, you now have the attack, you now have a full length kick. You'll just create a new file and check that out. That is rather clean version of the kick in my track next to you, right? So that way you could get a kick out of something for whatever purpose, even though you don't have the original kick as clean sample. Yay, EQing. Oh, surprise, surprise, yeah. So what did I do today? Not much, but let's listen to that. Oh, I can mute those unsoloed down. Oh, and so the cool thing about what I did, I just realized I could actually, I'm going to go back to 128, and I'm going to do this, 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 and I'm going to say this about 16 times. This, boom, boom, boom. The rest of it, this is MIDI. These are the samples that I'm using. So now I can go to like 138. So it works as 140 and 120, and I think I'm going to be settling at 128 as I did. Oh man. So my problem is about this streaming stuff. I really like doing it. I've gotten used to it now, and I really want to keep on doing this. But I need a little bit of help of sort of figuring out this workflow that would make sense, and or that I wouldn't be sidetracked, or whatever works best for your kind of an audience. Because I have a lot of, if you don't mind me saying, but I know I have a lot of all kinds of practical and even some textbook knowledge of this stuff, but it's really difficult to, like, I even have all of these things set up, those topics and stuff. It's really hard for me to just do like, hey, here's a kick. I mean, there's days worth of stuff in a kick, but at the same time to put it in a half an hour or an hour or whatever is really difficult, because I could be done with it in 4 minutes. I don't know what else, tune your kicks, listen to it, make it as good as it, so I know I've said this probably several times already, but if you guys do have some practical requests, ideas, how I could make this like flow well for everybody. And so I'm doing my own production, during my daytime, and here and there when I have the chance, when I can, for copyright reasons, for label reasons, or whatever, when I can show you even the actual production process. But this stuff is just more like touching things that I know and I like doing, and sort of teaching, maybe get a couple of people working on electronic dance music as well. Well, Jonas makes music. Thank you. I'll take that compliment. And I'm not saying like I don't try. I'm not trying to say that this sucks. I don't think it sucks, but I just wish that because it makes me feel like I was thinking, say, let's do kicks. Well, I pull a couple of kicks and I show the plugin that I'm using currently in my projects. But then what else is there? Like it's really hard. Well, here's a distorted happy hardcore kick from 2000 or 95. I don't know if I particularly can or want to just go through like how to make all kinds of kicks. It mainly I think mainly I should just be like, here's how I did it in this and that track. That might make more sense. Analog Rich, you've done or you've suggested a thing that a couple of other people have as well, and that definitely does make sense. And I actually did already kind of a similar thing, though I didn't explain everything that I was doing. But I did a remix of Dean Mason's track, Chosen One, and I basically was starting from scratch, got the remix parts and did the track like in the last couple of weeks. But it's a really good request. It's a good idea, and I think I'm just gonna think of it as I go kind of thing, and hopefully you guys find something interesting every time. And because it's also a thing that like now it turned to this. I like to do a bass line and some other drums, and because it is a combination of everything. So I think that's the most natural way, like you said, start building from scratch and make a whole track eventually. So do you guys like this groove? Kiitos Kolamies. Well, because now what I think we're gonna do is I'm gonna use a feature in Logic that where did that kick drum go? Okay, cool. That doesn't need to be there. Next to you, kick drum. I am going to bounce these files out. These two bars. Okay, so this is stupid, but I am going to try and see if I can use Logic's feature called whatever it is called. Export. 8 tracks. All 8 tracks as audio files. Let's see what that does. And I'm going to go. Yep. $16,060. Okay. Boom. Let's see what comes out. Oh, come on. Others. Now I don't know where they went, so I'm gonna have to redo that. Actually, yeah, I do. Okay, moment of truth. Use existing tracks, and then what's going to happen? Yes, so they're not balanced. Okay, so what I'm going to do is balance that out as well. Just take those down 6 dBs. Oh, screw it, that's not good. Export bounce. Tracks in place. New tracks include. Okay, let's try this. I haven't bounced multiple tracks before, as funny as that sounds, but let's just see. Bouncing selected tracks. What? No. Cannot be. Maybe it's now trying to do the whole length of the project, which is not what I want. Let's try that again. Bounce tracks in place, and I'm going to take those tracks out. I don't need them. I don't need that right now. One more try. Bounce tracks in place. New tracks. Boom. Okay, so now see how the kick. Okay, so now it seems that I am getting what I wanted to get. And so I'm going to gather these to a folder, and I'm going to give you the link in a minute. Come on. One, two, three, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and those. Okay. Okay. Yep, that's what I'm doing. My magic stick. Don't you know it? So I learned something today. I know now how to bounce out multiple tracks at the same time. So this is how it sounds as audio. What I just did. And as soon as this has 4 days left, I'm uploading some stuff to my Dropbox, and it is so damn slow because it's going like on 100 gigabytes something, and it's been taking so long. Anyway, when I get that yeah, Honey, that's what I was doing. Old Mortem, I'm not sure if it contributes the thought process. But what I've noticed is, and I mean, this might sound funny, but this also might sound very familiar to a lot of people. So when I'm in my studio, as much as a professional, I try to be as much as, goal oriented, but I still every once in a while end up distracted. I end up on Facebook, Twitter, or something, or whatever have you, or I could end up looking for a certain type of sound and then end up somewhere that I wasn't, like the last hour or two, doing really anything useful for the track. But with doing production on live on stream, it actually helps me stay on course better, because I'm not wasting my time on Facebook or Twitter, for instance, while I'm talking to you. But this is still like the same thing. Like it's still I'm on a production stream, and I'd rather sort of do something productive, even with the, sort of say, in quotes, wasted time. Like I'd rather talk to somebody on a chat than spend some time browsing the internet. And because I know somebody's watching over my shoulder, basically, that also keeps me, like, I don't sort of I don't want to be caught, or so to say, of letting my thoughts wander somewhere and not work on the piece that I'm working on. So in that way, it does sort of help. Come on. This just does not want to go. I've got 14 files remaining, 3 days left, but it will start the stream of, or stream, but upload of a file, like, because those are so small, they'll be there sooner than later. Let's see if I can see them on my other computer. Dropbox public. No, not there. Oh gosh. So I might have to drop the links to these. Actually, I can drop the link right now, but it just won't work. But I gotta go. Okay, so the bass, the couple drum things and what have you, I did a while ago. I just gave those for you guys. If you want to do anything with them, feel free. If you want to just take a look at them, feel free. If you do something with them, do me a favor, and next time I'm online or whenever, send me a bit, and maybe I'll like what you did, and maybe we can, I don't know, maybe I can use some of those track or parts in my track or whatnot, if you have something new. We'll see. I mean, I'm not gonna say that we're gonna just collaborate right away or anything like that, but if you make something nice that catches my ear, I might use it and give you credit, or we might collab or whatever. Just give you an example. When I was working on the Dean Mason remix the other week, there was this guy called Ernest who sent me this mute guitar sample that is in the track now, that he was basically modeling after something that I did, and he just sent me this new part. I listened to it, I liked it, I edited a couple of the timings to fit better for my track, and then, you know, it ended up in my Dean Mason remix. Okay, so like I said, it is uploading to Dropbox, but I have like about 1,000 other files and a huge bunch, like those are movie files that are uploading there, like, or GoPro files. So it is going to take a lot of time. I don't know when it's done, but you can try that link tomorrow or the next day or the next day or the whenever. Cool. I gotta go, guys. See ya later. Stream ending soon.